Hi, I'm Jeff Hajek, the owner and founder of Action. This video is part of my lean training system. It was originally released as a DVD a long time ago, but times have changed and the look of some of these LTS videos is now a bit dated. The content is still spot on though, so rather than just discontinue the line, I am posting the majority of each of the 36 videos here, with the remainder available at Action Videos. That's our video service where you can download a wealth of supporting content and watch subscriber-only videos. I recommend subscribing and hitting the notification button if you want to make sure you don't miss any new content. I would also really appreciate if you would hit the like button if this video is helpful and you want to see more content similar to it. The like button helps us get found on YouTube, but it also lets us figure out where you want us to put our future effort. Now enjoy the free version of this video. Welcome to Action Continuous Improvement's overview presentation on how to sustain improvements after your Kaizen event. I am Jeff Hajek, the owner and founder of Action. I like to start each presentation by going over the objectives of what I hope you learn from it. The first objective is to highlight why it is so important to make changes stick for good. Not only should you know why making gains permanent is important, but we want to give you the tools to plan for success. And finally, we'll go over the auditing process. So, what do we really mean when we say sustain? Here is a stock definition, but in our application, we center around the fact that Kaizens often fail long after the team has gone back to their own work areas. With regards to Kaizen, we look at sustaining as preventing chaos from creeping in and stealing defeat from the jaws of victory. In a nutshell, we want to make the gains of a successful Kaizen event stick. While the last slide probably came across as rather elementary, I wanted to stress it because, despite the concept's simplicity, there is a common pattern that repeats itself over and over and over. We see a Kaizen event make changes that result in great gains. These are shown in green. Then there is backsliding, shown in red. Think about what would happen if the red lines were actually flat, if we held on to our gains. All that lost ground would be preserved. As it turns out, it is a cumulative benefit. The lines, as you can see, get further and further apart if we prevent this regression. Now, there's nobody who finishes a Kaizen event and says, "I can't wait to backslide." Nobody wants to get worse. So why does it happen? Well, there are a few common reasons. The first is not really backsliding, but it feels like it. Sometimes we expect gains and report that we made them, and they never materialize. More commonly, changes are made in an event, but then the training falls flat. People don't know what to do under the new process, so they revert to the familiar. And sometimes, people just get scared to try new things and latch onto old, comfortable processes. There is also an issue with people just not liking the new process. They may feel that they didn't have enough say in a new process, regardless of whether they really had an opportunity to participate. Or in some cases, they may have had it pretty easy with a lot of spare time, and a new process makes their day flow at a more steady pace. Regardless of what is good for the operation and the team, some people have personal preferences that might be at odds with the new methods. Sometimes, a new process requires new skills. If a person doesn't have those talents, they might feel self-conscious or even threatened. They retreat to the old process. And finally, people are creatures of habit. They like things the way they like them. If there is nothing stopping them, they go back to what they know. As part of the lean training system this video comes from, we offer a variety of lean Lego training packages. These include our lean Lego flow simulation, mistake proofing or poka-yoke lean Lego exercise, and our visual controls and 5S lean Lego exercise. We've also got an office flow simulation for those not implementing continuous improvement on the shop floor. Click the links in the description below or click on cards that pop up on this video to learn more. We'll also add links at the end. One way to prevent backsliding is to minimize follow-up activity. The Kaizen newspaper is a tool for tracking follow-ups, but the shorter the list, the fewer excuses you give to people to go back to the old way. This is especially true early in a transformation or when the change is controversial. Unfortunately, in the office, the list can get extended due to programming requirements. IT groups are notoriously slow at getting changes done during Kaizen events. Just do your best to keep the list short. If you find that your organization tends to have lengthy follow-up lists, try to narrow down the scope so you can get more done. One foolproof way to prevent backsliding is to get rid of the tools that support the old process. If there is nothing to go back to, then people won't try to revert to the old methods. This is easier on the shop floor, but still possible in the office. Just find the key components of the old process and mothball them somewhere out of reach of the team. If people don't know the new process, it would be no surprise that they stick with the old process. This is most common when there is a phased rollout where people are gradually trained in the new methods. The problem is that gradually becomes eventually, and the people who are already trained revert to the old way if half the team is still doing it that way. Get everyone trained as soon as possible so you can get rid of all traces of the old way. Get daily management and KPIs going as soon as possible. Apart from the benefit of using these tools, there is a message that is sent to the team. It shows leadership commitment to the new methods. Just make sure that leaders actually commit to the new methods. If they don't follow up on the problems uncovered in daily management, and they don't provide resources to deal with KPI misses, teams will quickly recognize that it is just lip service. In addition, there are a handful of other strategies to make sure that the gains you worked so hard for during the project don't evaporate. The first item is to actually use the Kaizen newspaper to manage the follow-up. Post an oversized copy in the work area and update it regularly. And make sure that people are hitting their targets. If they miss dates repeatedly, workers will lose confidence that the changes will ever be completed. It is also important to formally document the new process in the standard manner that the rest of the company uses. A hacked-together process document shows the team that this is not a real process. Make it look real. Some new processes will require a new metric. It might be a temporary one, but as long as it gets the team closer to following the new methods, it serves a valuable purpose. Just make sure it is realistic and that it is tracked, and if there is a miss, deal with it. And finally, make sure that the communication does not end when the project does. Backsliding occurs in a vacuum. Make sure you know what people's concerns are, and this includes stakeholders, not just the people actually doing the process. Stakeholders will have tremendous sway over the workers. Complaints pave the way for backsliding. An important part of any Kaizen event is the follow-up audit. Whenever you do an audit, make sure you plan it out. They take the time of both the people doing the audit and the people being audited. Make sure that time is used wisely. Go over the Kaizen details prior to the audit. Make sure you have an outline of what you want to go over, specific things to look at, and the Kaizen newspaper to make sure follow-up items are on track. The team leader still owns the Kaizen process, so is in charge of the audit. The audit crew does not have to consist of the entire Kaizen team. Make sure that auditors know they are on the team, though. When doing the audit, go over both the process and the metrics. You can still get bad results while following the process, or good results without following the process. Both require further investigation. What you are looking for is good results with the process still intact. You also want to follow up on any specific problems that are uncovered. This can be both problems that are known and not fixed, or new unexpected ones that were caused by the change. You may have heard the analogy before that lean is like lowering the water level in a stream. As you lower it, you keep uncovering new rocks. This often happens in Kaizen. Improving one process stresses another one, making it harder to keep up. Let's cover some specific audit advice now. The 30-day audit is mandatory. Follow up in 60 days and 90 days if needed. It would be needed if there are still follow-up actions, though you should try to avoid anything lingering nearly that long. Shoot for follow-ups within a week or two. You also need 60 and 90-day audits if the process is slow to catch on, if there is suspicion that it will backslide, or if there are other special circumstances that make you want another look later. The audit team should include some representatives from the KAIZEN team, but not the whole team. But keep in mind that workers from the area being audited are like gold. They know the process. The area leadership and the value stream manager should also attend. And finally, get an executive to attend. This shows the team that audits are taken seriously. If company bigwigs attend, people tend to be better prepared. I mentioned that you should go over your follow-up items and metrics. You also want to make sure that the whole team is properly trained in the new process, and that there is no sign of backsliding. Let's wrap up now with a quick recap of some main points. You need a sustainment plan to make sure changes stick. Change is incredibly hard for some people. They need all the help they can get. All the items on this list help you avoid preventable errors. It is also imperative that you act on any issues you discover immediately after the KAIZEN event and during the audit process. If you don't, it sets the tone for future KAIZEN activity. People quickly learn whether a follow-up list is an action item list or a black hole of ideas. Finally, avoid going back. New processes will nearly always have glitches. When a new process is markedly better, people power through the glitches with enthusiasm. When the gains are incremental, though, powering through problems can seem like more effort than it is worth. Just keep in mind that the KAIZEN event happened in the first place because there was opportunity, and that often means that there were known flaws in the old process. Even if the KAIZEN got it wrong and something might not work as designed, avoid just reverting to the old process. Find a better new way. That concludes this presentation on sustaining gains after a KAIZEN event. If you have any questions about the content, please contact us using the information shown on the screen. We can also help you with your KAIZEN activity. We hope this presentation was helpful. Good luck and best wishes on your continuous improvement journey.